Chapter 8, Other Flowers and Butterflies Outside. Xu Yiyi. Yes, she indeed doesn't want to leave Siwang, but it's not the kind of dependence Siwang thinks it is. To gain Siwang's trust, she had portrayed herself as a woman who adored him and secretly pined for him for 3 years. Unexpectedly, Siwang believed it. Mr. Fu, Xu Yiyi wanted to refuse, but the man had already intruded directly. Fine, she couldn't sleep anyway. As long as you're obedient, there's a chance for renewal. At the climax, Siwang whispered this in her ear. Xu Yiyi gritted her teeth in anger. Be his obedient plaything? She seriously doubted if she could survive 3 years at this rate. During work hours, Xu Yiyi learned some good news. Siwang would be going on a business trip to the US next month. She unconsciously rubbed her waist, finally able to get some rest. At the courthouse. Xiao Shen, you've made many mistakes in your work these days. I've looked at your previous work records, you're a very talented individual. You mustn't slack off. The leader patted Xu Yiyi's shoulder, lamenting, your father-in-law has high hopes for you. After talking with the leader, Xu Yiyi's expression was very unpleasant. Due to the Bai family's connections, his promotion had been smooth, but his work performance had deteriorated recently because of Xu Yiyi. He was constantly worried that Xu Yiyi might expose their past. Despite Bai Xuqin's sweet appearance, she was actually a spoiled girl, with a bit of a princess syndrome. She had a bad temper and required comprehensive pampering, not to mention she was incapable of doing any household chores. Xu Yiyi was after the Bai family's background, not Bai Xuqin herself. What frustrated him even more was that his father-in-law had stated that Bai Xuqin's child must carry the Bai surname. In plain terms, he was just a son-in-law. However, he had anticipated and accepted these grievances as long as he could cross social classes. But if their past with Xu Yiyi was exposed, Bai Xuqin's temperament might lead her to demand a divorce. What troubled him the most wasn't these issues. Seeing Xu Yiyi and Siwang cuddling, and imagining how Xu Yiyi served Siwang every night, it felt like a block was lodged in his heart. They had been together for 7 years, but due to their infrequent meetings, their relationship remained affectionate but proper. The most passionate moment they had was kissing in a movie theater. He had wanted to reach into Xu Yiyi's clothes, but when an audience member screamed at a movie scene, he retracted his hand, afraid of being seen, and didn't proceed further. During their relationship, he had mentioned having a physical relationship, and he genuinely liked Xu Yiyi and wanted to be with her. But Xu Yiyi insisted on prioritizing her studies and work, and they could start living together when their lives were stable. At that time, he believed Xu Yiyi. If it weren't for Bai Xuqin, he would have married Xu Yiyi. Now, Xu Yiyi regretted immensely. If he had known, he should have claimed Xu Yiyi sooner. When he was with Bai Xuqin, he was still inexperienced, but Bai Xuqin was not. Bai Xuqin had told him that she had dated 2 well-matched ex-boyfriends while studying abroad but had broken up due to incompatible personalities. Bai Xuqin had asked if he minded that she wasn't a virgin. Xu Yiyi said he didn't, but how could he not mind? Thinking about his wife having slept with how many men and tried how many new things made him feel disgusted. Moreover, he regretted not getting Xu Yiyi while she was still pure. Now, Siwang, that old man, had taken advantage of it. With this in mind, Xu Yiyi dialed Xu Yiyi's number, which he had always memorized and could recite by heart. Xu Yiyi was surprised to receive Xu Yiyi's call during her lunch break. What scheme did this man have now? How? Prosecutor Shen calling me, aren't you afraid of your wife finding out? Xu Yiyi answered the call, with a sarcastic tone. We've known each other for more than a decade. We're like family. Why do you have to be so harsh with me? Xu Yiyi felt increasingly suffocated and distressed as he reminisced about the past. Moreover, you were unfaithful first and kept it from me. Yet, you portrayed me as a sinner. If you hadn't successfully married Siwang, how long did you plan to hide this matter? Xu Yiyi accused her. In his view, the green hat had been worn for who knows how long. Perhaps Xu Yiyi had been involved with Fu Siwang as soon as she joined the Fu Corporation. Otherwise, how could she have married into the Fu family so quickly? A man like Fu Siwang wouldn't marry a small secretary on a whim. Xu Yiyi. Xu Yiyi instinctively wanted to explain but changed her mind and said, "Yes, I'm climbing the social ladder, and so are you. It's mutual." She hung up the phone directly. After leaving the booth, Xu Yiyi went to the sink, looked at her haggard reflection in the mirror, and her eyes were slightly red. She sniffed, bent over, and turned on the faucet to wash her hands. As if nothing had happened. But she knew that years of acquaintance and 7 years of relationship couldn't be dismissed so easily. Back at the office, Xu Yiyi received a text message. "You can go back alone tonight and don't wait for me for dinner. I might come back very late. Xu Yiyi replied, "Okay." She never pried into what Fu Siwang was doing. If he didn't mention it, she wouldn't ask. He might very well have other women outside, who knows? She didn't care. She would rather Fu Siwang not come back tonight, she'd be alone and much more at ease. When Xu Yiyi returned home, she ate instant noodles alone. Since marrying Fu Siwang, she hadn't had instant noodles. She had eaten enough of them before, and now, after a long time, she found herself missing them. After eating, she took a shower, then turned on the TV in the living room, planning to watch a movie before going to bed. Unintentionally, she came across the movie she had once watched with Xu Yiyi in the theater. Since they had only been to the cinema a few times, the memory was quite vivid. But those once happy moments now seemed laughable to the extreme. It made her sick and nauseous. Xu Yiyi felt frustrated, turned off the TV, and went back to her room. At night, in a famous club. The most notorious den in the capital. Several well-known female stars in the entertainment industry had come from here. In the 808 VIP room, Fu Siwang pushed the door open and saw a scene that was like an erotic painting.